This morning's scripture is taken from the prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 52. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good tidings, who publishes peace, who brings good tidings of good, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Break forth together into singing, you waste places of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all the nations, and to all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. And you shall know that I, the Lord, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, devastation or destruction within your borders. You shall call your walls salvation, and your gates praise. The sun shall no more your light shall be no more your light by day, nor for brightness shall the moon give light to you by night. But the Lord will be your everlasting light, and your God will be your glory. Amen. Good morning. We've got a special guest today, and Mr. Broadhead is going to introduce her, and so here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. It's really my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Anna Claire A.C. Tuma, class of 2016 at Webb. You can see she's in a different dress code than we are, and she'll tell you about that in a few minutes. She attended Webb for 7 years and graduated, as I said, in 2016. I watched her compete as an athlete, and this was one intense kid. And when she was frustrated, she could foul faster than anyone in basketball. Am I correct? Yeah, okay. Mom's probably laughing in the back. She knows what I mean. So but really, a very intense athlete, and her goal, she started working for a private pilot's license when she was 16, and her goal then became she wanted to continue pursuing flying and applied to the Air Force Academy. She went straight to the Air Force Academy after Webb and will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force in May. She's a systems engineering major. She'll tell you more about that. She's an instructor pilot for gliders, and also she's pursuing a pilot slot. And she said just before we got up here, she wants to go on something really fast. So she will tell a lot more about herself than I know right now. But she when you go to the Air Force, how long are your vacations? You had a vacation?
About 3 weeks.
The whole year? 3 weeks?
6 weeks out of the year.
6 weeks out of the year. Okay, so school gets a little rougher if you make this choice, but she'll tell you more about it. I'm thrilled to welcome A.C. Tuma back to Webb.
I don't know if this works or not, but we'll try it. Hi guys, I'm A.C. Tuma. Like Ms. Rudd had said, I graduated from here in 2016. I went here for 7 years, so I've done 4 declamations, an oration, a junior project, and a senior project, and standing up here now is not much easier than that, so try to bear with me. I'll do my best here. But Ms. Camp contacted me about a month ago and asked me to come and speak to you guys, and I was really honored because she's always been a mentor for me and someone I really respect. So for all you juniors in the room, make sure you listen to her. She's very wise. She'll give you good advice. Cool, so I'll start off, oh, good, cool. All right, so I'll start off with kind of highlights of my Webb career while I was here. So yes, I played basketball for all 7 years while I was here. I tried out some other sports, but I wasn't really good at anything else, so I just kind of stuck with basketball. And that was really awesome. I had really good experiences with that. I got to travel. I got to be the team captain and get good leadership experience doing that. And then I also started working on my private pilot license when I was 16. I think I finished it when I was 17. But I just fell in love with flying. I still love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I ultimately decided that I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy when I was about 16, so I was about a sophomore here. And that was awesome. And then also while I was here, I was in the WILD program, so you see a couple pictures on the bottom. I got to go to Utah for spring break one year, which was really cool for me. And then I also learned how to build a yurt out of leaves and branches and stuff like that, and just kind of learn that survival skills type stuff. And that was awesome doing that. I've performed a couple times in Spring Fest. I wasn't that great, but I enjoyed it, so that's all that matters, right? And then once I graduated, I got into the Air Force Academy. That's me on graduation day, getting my appointment for that. And there's a couple things about Webb that I kind of learned while I was here. Obviously, a balancing act. I did all these different things. And that's something really cool that you don't get at a lot of other high schools or middle schools out there, is all these different opportunities, and they're so easy to get involved with. All you have to do is want to do them. And that's really cool. I talked to a lot of my friends at the academy now, and their high schools, it was basically you kind of had to pick one thing and run with it. And that's just so different here, and I think that that's such a blessing, and there's so many things available to you. So I really encourage everyone to try new things, just see how far you can go. You might discover something that you really like. Another huge thing is actually the honor code. We have almost the exact same honor code at the Air Force Academy and in the Air Force in general. At the Air Force Academy, it's we will not lie, steal, or cheat, nor tolerate among us anyone who does. So that's been kind of cool for me to kind of continue that on, and I've really learned that it's not just here that's going to care about that. That's really important in life, and pretty much at any big corporation, company, whatever you're going to work at, they all value that. And then another thing is just about appreciating every phase of your life. These seniors down here, you guys are probably experiencing senioritis. I am as well, because I'm a senior too. And I would just really encourage you to try to enjoy your last semester here. I know that that sounds super cliche, but it's really true, because you will miss it. I oftentimes find myself looking back like, oh, that was so fun. I remember doing that. I remember going on these wild trips. I remember playing basketball. And I really miss that, because once you leave here, it's over. And then another thing, too, that's really huge that I've had to learn is, or that I learned while I was here, is to ask for help. I would definitely not be where I am today if I had not gone to my teachers when I was 15, 16 years old and told them what I wanted to do and asked them to help me. So many people in this room have given me written recommendations for me, proofread essays, told me about new programs I could be involved with, encouraged me through all the tough classes I took when I was here, gave me leadership experience like Wild and being captain of a team. And that's really important to do, and to not try to do it alone, because I would definitely not have gotten where I am without a lot of the teachers that are still here today, and the students as well. So that's super important. Okay, so here's me, senior year on top of the world, super excited, ready to move on, ready to go do big things, graduate. 30 days later, there's me. It's way less fun in this picture. This is something I had to do not once, not twice, but 3 times in basic training. It's called the assault course. 3 hours long. So that's kind of your welcome to the academy. That's your orientation day, sort of. Kind of different than most other places, I would imagine. And I'm definitely not having a good time, but I think I'm having a better time than the guy behind me who looks like he's struggling just a little bit. But yeah, so there's this, and then a couple more pictures just to really... yeah, so this is me again. This is actually a real fire hose that they have pointed straight down at your head. It's really fun. That's the first thing that you do in the assault course. So yeah, basic training is basically 6 weeks of this, waking up at 5 in the morning, getting yelled at constantly, doing push-ups all the time, barely getting enough to eat because they're yelling at you while you're trying to eat. Not getting to talk to your family except for through snail mail. I got 1 phone call in that 6 weeks halfway through. So yeah, it's quite a culture shock is my point. It's quite different than anything that I had ever experienced. Probably most people in here have ever experienced in their life. But it was something that I knew I wanted to do. And I knew that I had worked so hard for it that I kind of stuck it out. So the rest of the academy, starting at the top left, that's acceptance day, so that's the last day of basic. You get officially accepted. It's kind of cut out there. My mom's in the picture, you can see. Yeah, so you get accepted as a cadet in the cadet wing, and my parents came out for that, and I was really fun. The first time I'd seen them since I started basic training, so it's been about 6 weeks. Then you get into freshman year, when you're called a dually, we call freshman dualies. And that whole year is basically more of the same, except you're also doing academics. So you're getting yelled at. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything, basically. You can't wear any of your own clothes. You're always in uniform. Yeah, and then that year kind of culminates with recognition, which is that picture. I'm also not having a lot of fun in that one. It's basically 48 hours of just straight physical training and getting yelled at, barely any sleep, barely anything to eat. But then once that's over, you're basically kind of like a real person again, which is kind of neat. And then sophomore year, I chose to go into the glider program. So that this is a plane that doesn't have an engine, basically. So you get towed up in the air by a plane that does have an engine, and then you release from it and fly around until you run out of altitude and try to land safely. So I spent my whole sophomore year just learning how to fly those, and it's interesting when you pull that rope and you know, all right, I'm not going to get any higher than I. Oh no. Oh, sorry. Okay. So yeah, you're just constantly losing altitude and having to kind of learn how to manage that. And okay, I'm this high. How far away can I be from where I need to land? Stuff like that. So it's a lot of decision making, thinking on your feet, learning about aerodynamics and stuff like that. So I spent my whole sophomore year learning how to fly those in addition to academics. And I'm a systems engineering major, so that's definitely not easy. Lots of math, lots of science, so very, very busy trying to do all these things. Between your sophomore and your junior year, we have what's called commitment dinner. So anytime between your freshman and your sophomore year, you can leave, and it's no charge. You don't have to pay anything back to the government. So you can basically, if you want to, get 2 years of free education and then leave, if you're willing to put up with all this stuff for 2 years. But once you start your junior year, you are committed for at least the next 7 years into the Air Force. You can't leave without having to pay back about $250,000 per year that you were there. So that is a tall order and not easy for someone if you're 20 and you just left the academy. So yeah, that's commitment dinner. And then junior year, so I had learned how to fly these gliders, and then I teach people how to fly them now. So that's another thing that has taught me a lot about thinking on your feet and being ready at all times. You take someone up with you that has never flown one before and let them try to land it. It can be very scary. So you have to really know what you're doing and really work on being calm in the plane. And then finally, at the end of your junior year, most cadets will tell you that this event is second only to graduation. It's called ring dance, and everybody in your class dresses up in these really fancy uniforms, and you get your class ring, and everybody gets to pick their own. It's not like everybody gets the same ring. You get to pick kind of exactly what you want, and that's always really, really fun. And you have this nice fancy dinner that they prepare for you. And now, this is me now. I'm a senior. My senior photos just came in. So now I'm kind of just finishing up my degree, and I have put in my preferences for a job. I'm hoping to get a pilot slot. We'll find out in January when I go back. So I've got that waiting for me. So hopefully I'll be happy after that. And then hats fly in the air, graduation, and then move on to whatever assignment they have given you. Typically about half the class goes to pilot training. There's 500 slots and a little less than 1,000 people. But then other jobs that you can go into are like military intelligence, research, engineering, missile operations, all kinds of stuff like that. Cool, so I talked about some experiences at Webb that made Webb really unique and special, and then I wanted to talk about some at the Academy that have made that really special for me. All seniors participate in a capstone project that you work on for a whole year, and my project is called Pilot Training Next, and it's basically we're working on using virtual reality simulators to incorporate them into pilot training to make the pilot training process faster. The idea is to replace some real-time flying with simulator training so that on days where the weather's bad or the planes are broken or whatever, you can still train, and so that way it doesn't get as backed up as it is right now. Because right now there is a really big pilot shortage and a really big backup in the Air Force. So that's what I'm working on with that. And then these two pictures up here. This lady right here is my commander. Her name's Major Haig. She's a pilot in the Air Force. She has been for about 15 years. So she has thousands of combat flying hours, been deployed, flown into combat zones, done real behind the scenes military things. But when I took her up in the glider, I got to be the pilot in command because for that particular plane, I was more experienced. And that's a really crazy thing to think about, is that this woman who has really been in it, really done it, thousands of hours, and she was asking me questions. Hey, how do I do this? Can I try this? How did you do that? And I'm kind of teaching her about it, which is a really cool experience that you don't really get anywhere else. Same thing with this man here. He is an instructor pilot for pilot training in the Air Force, so he teaches all the pilot trainees how to fly all the trainer aircraft, and it was the same situation there. In this particular airframe, I was more experienced, so he was asking me questions, things like that, and if he would mess something up, I would have to take the controls away from him, which is really a really weird dynamic, but pretty cool. Another thing that's just kind of fun, Colorado Springs is about 2.5 hours away from Breckenridge, Vail, Keystone, all those places. So we've spent a lot of weekends up there skiing and snowboarding, and that's been really cool too, because here I think in East Tennessee there's some skiing, but it's nothing like anything in Colorado. And then for the gliders as well, seniors get to put their name on one of them. So that's me, my dad helping me paste my name onto one of the planes down there. So when I go fly it, it's got my name on the side, which is pretty cool. And then also just being in the military in any capacity, there's a lot of fun rivalry between the branches. So this year I got to go to the Naval Academy for the football game with some of my friends, and just kind of participate in all that fun competition that we have. But Army and Navy play for second, so cool. So I have a video I want to show you guys. So they played this video for us about 2 days after we took the oath of office in basic training. So. So they played that video for us right after we took this oath and completed it. It's up there. And you have to imagine being 18 years old, coming from here or coming from anywhere, taking this oath that says, if you really read this, it's pretty daunting. But as soon as you do it and you kind of look around you and watch this video and all these people that are with you that have just done the same thing, the bond and the, connectedness you feel is indescribable. It's anything I've ever experienced. So I realize that most people in here probably are not interested in the military, and that's totally fine. But I encourage you that if you are, to at least kind of research it further, talk to me, talk to someone you know, because it really is something that I would never trade and that I'm so glad that I did. So if any of you at all want to talk to me after, I would be glad to. And then the last thing, this is just a picture of me and my friends. The last thing I want to tell you guys is whether you're interested in the military or not, or whatever it is you're interested, I really encourage each of you to go where you feel called. Go somewhere that you have a goal to achieve and you want to go there because you do. Not because the teacher's telling you to go there, not because your friends are going there, not because your parents want you to go there. And especially, this is I think the biggest one, not because you are settling for it because you're afraid to try something that you're not sure you'll need. I have gone for so many positions and so many different jobs while I've been at the academy, and more often than not, I don't get it. And it's really disappointing, but I've learned more through trying to go the extra mile and trying to challenge myself. And then when you do get those opportunities that you didn't think you were going to get, it's a really, really awesome experience. So whatever it is you want to do, just make it your own, make the choice your own. And then also make sure that you have someone that is cheering for you and rooting for you. I can promise you that if you ask any teacher here that they will, because I had so many supporting me all the way through and still now. But if you can't, just call me and I'll be your #1 fan. So I'll be in the back if anybody wants to talk to me after, and then Ms. Camp has my contact info too if you decide later on you want to talk to me. But thanks for your attention. I know that this is a busy time for you guys with exams and stuff, so I really appreciate it. Seniors, I'm really excited for you guys. It's really awesome moving on and going to college or going to do whatever it is you're going to do. So I'm excited for you guys. I hope you guys are excited. Thanks, guys.
We have an alumnus, Bob Gillen, who passed away this past year. He flew the SR-71 Blackbird. You're probably aware of that plane. And you can go see his picture up there after if you want to.
I will.
Anyway, thank you so much. You're awesome.
Okay. If you want to help the poor old sick fellow, please see Mr. Quinn after chapel. Miss Mullen has an announcement.
Sarah Boyd is missing 2 music folders. If anyone has seen them around campus, you can just please return them to me or Miss Rick downstairs and she'll contact me. Sarah Boyd, music folders. Thank you.
Students, you are invited to wear an ugly Christmas sweater over your semi-casual dress tomorrow. This is from Ms. Takari. I am pleased to announce the 2020 McDonnell Fallen Scholars. The committee was impressed with all applicants, but 2 really stood out. Congrats to Finman Liu, who will engage in a study of quantum physics with Mr. Brooks, and congrats to Molly Kate Creech, who will be studying American Sign Language with Ms. Sullins. The following students need to report to the health center after chapel: Sydney Cohen, Joseph Major, Jackson Holland, Mark Anthony Nicholson, and Harrison Andrews. Rogan Zhu, please see Ms. Crick downstairs after chapel. From the floor, Ms. Cordell.
The schoolmaker, the signed up sheet has been posted. I will get the schedules on the board that you may take with you. Very important that you look at the schedule and make sure you can comply with it. There are not many conflicts that I will entertain. Just know that. So make sure you get the schedule, sign up. You can read the rest of the directives on there. And lastly, I found some earbuds, earbuds in my classroom just now, and I think Holton, Inman, they might be yours. If not Bennett, they might be yours. Thank you.
Ms. Truitt.
Madam Leader, we have to get in the December contest, and I know this is not a really good time to do it. I figure maybe tomorrow afternoon is the best time, so I'm planning on 3:15 in my room tomorrow. If any of you think that's a bad time to do it, let me know, and we'll try to see what might be a better time. But right now, Math League contest, December, in my room, tomorrow afternoon, 3:15. Thank you.
Mr. Folk?
Thank you. Perhaps an announcement has already been made about this matter, but I just want to let you know, if it does happen to be once again, we do have a Jeans Day for this month. It's a dance marathon, and we will be allowed to wear jeans on Monday. So it's not a Jeans Day tomorrow, but it will be a Jeans Day Monday, the last review day before exam. So thank you.
Ms. Allwater?
There is a community service opportunity on Saturday. Apparently Santa is coming to Belleville on Saturday. So if you need a couple of hours, we'll be walking down there at 11:45. Also after chapel, should I please see all of the Guatemalan students, including Manuel, Ali Babo, and Gianna Wagner for 1 second. Thank you.
In the back?
Hey, any girl interested in playing softball, let's meet in the senior section after chapel.
Ms. Sullins?
Nancy Tiger and Nelson for just a moment. Exercise, please.
Dr. Verdoni?
Luke Ledbetter, can you please meet me after chapel, please?
Kojo?
From 10:30 to 12:30 on Friday, the Gingerbread House will be happening at the Student Center. So, yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Prefect Council, we will meet tomorrow, 7:15, finally. Been a long time. Santa's making an appearance here at Webb tonight, too. He will be giving gifts to the faculty children, so, and he has his elves with him. Photo opportunity for all of you. You'll find out who Santa is tonight. The real Santa. Congratulations, Feynman and Molly Kate. That's great, great honor for you guys. Good luck with that. And once again, AC, your message was just so powerful. Thank you very, very much. It's great to hear from you. All right, Mr. Smith. Any things about tonight, right?
Yes. Thanks, AC. You'll note, she did that without notes and didn't repeat herself once. I think that's the product of a good Webb public speaking education. Yeah, you've done just right. Certainly want to invite everyone to the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols tonight, 7 o'clock here. I believe, Mr. Folk, it is required for the boarding population, yes, sir, right? And what? Should be dressing up. Okay, very good. That I would and anyone, any day students, any member of the community, any member outside the community wants to come in and participate, you are certainly welcome. Just a bit of history on the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols. It's basically it's 101 years old this year. The first Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols was held in the chapel of King's College in Cambridge, in England. December 24th, 1918, just after the end of the First World War. And the dean of King's College, Reverend Duncan Milner White, that wanted to have a service that, again, sort of maybe broke away from the from the tradition of the Anglican service, and so he put together that essentially the story of Christmas, that in 9 lessons from Scripture, interspersed with carols sung by the choir and the audience. So this is sort of a participatory thing. I believe there's going to be a fair amount of carol singing for you to participate in. But the thing to remember is that this is, for all intents and purposes, a church service. And so you should comport yourself accordingly, please. Anyway, so look forward to seeing you. I think it's always a wonderful start to our Christmas season. Anything else?
And then those goodies afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And after the service, yes, there will be refreshments, etc., up at the dining hall. So, y'all come. God bless you all. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sit down. Seniors first. Hurry up, you seniors.